Hi there, I'm Alan. I am definitely not a pro surfer. I've just surfed the Wave Bristol. I did an advanced right session and I thought it might be useful to do a list of the 10 things I wish I knew before I went. So here's the 10 things you need to know before you go to the Wave Bristol. So one, you should definitely go. So spoiler alert, you need to get yourself down there. It is awesome. I couldn't stop smiling literally the whole time. It is such a weird but amazing experience to rock up in the middle of the countryside at this farm, and you hear the sound of waves, and then suddenly you're at the beach. Get yourself there, because to be one of the very first 1,000 people to surf the world's first commercial artificial wave is a pretty cool thing to get to do. A great time to be alive as a surfer, quite frankly, and it's 2 hours away from where I am in London. So definitely do it. As I said in the intro, I did an advanced right session, and I guess as a preface to all of this, you don't need to be a pro to do the advanced right, but I would recommend that you're not a beginner, because you'll probably mess it up for everybody unless you're pretty good, pretty competent. Okay, two, the water is cold. So the team at the Wave told me that the water temperature pretty much matches the air temperature when I went. So right now it's November. It was 7 degrees in and out of the water. So that's pretty cold. The guys there will hook you up as part of your fee for the session you're in with a winter wetsuit and booties and hood and the whole thing. I went with my own stuff, so I took my Excel Dry Lock, which is literally the greatest winter wetsuit I have ever had. I chose to wear gloves like the coach that was out there in the water, and I was very grateful for doing that. I was toasty warm in 7 degrees. In fact, I was sort of letting water in to cool down, whereas everyone else was in the water, freezing and shivering and shaking. Why would you do that to yourself? So the water is cold. Get yourself in a winter suit. Okay, number three, take the fun floaty board in your quiver. I'm gonna pretend that I have a quiver of like 10 boards, but that board is the board that I should have gone with, a Hypto Crypto 5.6 maybe, with plenty of volume. Instead, I chose to go with my 5.8 Lost Mayhem thruster, and that was a mistake, I think. I chose the thruster because I'm not super fit at the moment, and I expected to be duck diving hundreds of times. And my thrust is a lot easier to duck dive, and I knew the water was gonna be cold, so I thought, I want to minimize effort, but actually you don't do a single duck dive while you're there, because there's a lovely little channel that runs out along the wall, so you don't need to think about that. Plus, a board that paddles faster, like this one, probably would have got me back out in time to do 2 waves maybe in the 15 wave set. But most importantly, on my thruster, I had to work pretty hard to stay, pumping in the wave in the first section, just to stay in it. Whereas with that one, I think I'd have been flying along the whole time. So yeah, the third bit is take your fun floaty board like that one. Number four is the wave is wind affected. And I just think that's an interesting one, because I think in my mind, an artificial wave of the future, I don't know what I was expecting, but I didn't expect any choppiness, but there was. So when I first got there was no wind at all on the wave, and so the barreling section, which is like in the middle of the wave, was working perfectly every single time, the same exact way. But then when the wind kind of hit it cross on, that changed a bit, so it did get a bit choppy, like the sea. It looked like the sea. Okay, five, the takeoff is beyond friendly. It is ridiculously friendly. This is nothing like a late drop, last second, grabbing hold of the board underneath the barrel type thing. You don't need to worry about that at all. You're not going to nosedive on this thing. So, my advice would be relax about that. You'll have a queue of people behind you, so you won't be particularly relaxed. At first at least, but you don't need to worry about stacking it on the takeoff. It's super easy, so take your time, do an extra couple of paddles, make sure you're riding with it, and then hop up. Loads of time. Super mushy, it's absolutely perfect. I'm going to say it's the most chilled out takeoff I have ever surfed. So enjoy that. Number 6, it is weird not to see the wave coming at you. So I like to sort of sit on my board, look at the horizon, see the wave come in, maybe overthink where I should be in relation to the beach, the wave, left, right, all of that. You don't do any of it. I mean, you're literally sitting a few yards away from a wall, and you're just aware that there's going to be a wave that pops up out of nowhere. So at first it's kind of weird because you don't look back. You just paddle, you assume a wave's going to come, and it feels super weird until suddenly you're on it and you can see it around you and in front of you, and you go from feeling unusual to unbelievably normal, like in an instant, and then you're just natural and away you go. 7, you are going to get more than enough waves in your hour session. So this is something I was worried about, and when I got there and there were 10 guys in the water with me, I wasn't sure how it was going to work. They set the machine when I was there to do 15 waves in a set, with a 90-second interval between sets, so like a lull period. And honest to God, like I spent the entire time either paddling up to get the wave, surfing the wave, paddling back out, and then catching another wave. So by the time I was sort of getting out, the lull was coming to an end, the machine was going again, and off we went. I was knackered by the end of it. Everyone was knackered. People were pretending they were trying to paddle out in time to catch a second wave in the set, but they were lying to themselves. Everyone was pretty knackered by the end of it. 8, so the queuing system really does work pretty well. And again, I had my apprehensions about that. 10 guys in the water, a coach in the water, telling you when you can go. You're told that you get 1 try on your wave, and then if you mess that up, you can just hold back and go in the next one. But if you mess up 2 in a row, you got to kind of join the queue again at the back. It's nothing like packed Bondi and aggressively fighting for waves at all. Having the coach there was a really good thing. There was literally no localism or aggression or anything like that. The atmosphere was really awesome. Everyone was hollering at each other, getting into waves, and like I said before, you get enough. So the queuing system, strange at first, but trust me, it really worked well. 9, Nick, who's the guy behind the wave, is basically a hero of our time. And it turned out that the coach who was in the water with us was Nick, and I recognized him from 5 years of funding chats. It's pretty amazing that the guy has had this vision for such a long time and has got 25 million pounds or whatever it is backing to do it, and now it's real. And I say that just because he was sitting in the water, he was there to listen to everybody's feedback, he was trying to dial in the wave. He's like a Grom, which is really nice, but also it was just great hearing everybody go up to him and say, wow, I can't believe that this has arrived, you've done such a great job, well done, what a time to be alive. In fact, I heard what a time to be alive a few times when I was there earlier, and that's nice considering the backdrop of total, the backdrop we live in right now. It was just so nice to hear. 10, it is a super fun wave, and that's probably the most important thing. I did come away from it thinking, is it as good as 3-foot barreling fun waves in the sea, like down in Devon or something? It's not that good. It doesn't have the power, it doesn't have the kind of variety. You can't stay there for 4 hours if you want. But is it as fun and as good as 2-foot barreling fun waves at the sea, the beach? Then absolutely it is, and it's guaranteed, and it's a couple hours away, so it's not my usual 4 or 5 hour drive. So it is just great. I'm booked in already to do about 4 more of the sessions. I can't recommend it highly enough. Everyone that I know that's been just thought it was super fun. Okay, that's it. Hope the video was useful. Like I said in the beginning, get yourself to the wave and give it a go. I'm going to upload this onto YouTube, so I guess you can comment if you like it and aren't some kind of a troll. And by all means, subscribe. But you'll just be subscribing to my only video, which is this one. Thanks.